Welcome back to our channel, USA Coins 69, where we uncover the hidden stories and unbelievable values behind ordinary coins that might just be lying in your change jar or tucked away in an old drawer. Today's spotlight is shining on a coin that most of us have probably held in our hands countless times without a second thought, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 1979. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that's worth just 25 cents in face value might actually be worth thousands, or in one rare case, a staggering $70,000. That's not a fantasy. That's reality in the world of rare coins and numismatics. So, let's journey into the story of the 1979 Washington quarter, its historical context, the mint marks that matter, the subtle but critical differences in design, and most importantly, how to spot the rare variations that make collectors go wild. Grab a seat and maybe even grab your change jar, because you're about to learn how one single quarter could change your life. Our journey begins in the late 1970s, a turbulent but transformative time in American history. Jimmy Carter was president, gas lines were long, inflation was high, and the nation was struggling with economic uncertainty. But amid all this, the U.S. Mint continued its tradition of producing coins that not only serve as everyday currency but also as snapshots of American history and craftsmanship. Now, the Washington quarter has a legacy of its own. First introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, it was originally meant to be a one-year design. But the design by John Flanagan was so beloved and iconic that it stuck around for decades, and the 1979 edition is part of that classic lineage. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find the familiar profile of President George Washington. Above him, in bold capital letters, is the national motto, Liberty. To his left is the word, In God We Trust, and beneath his neckline is the year of minting, 1979. But there's something else extremely important next to the date, the mint mark. Mint marks are tiny letters that indicate where the coin was struck. In 1979, the three possibilities are, no mint mark, which means it was minted in Philadelphia, A, D, for the Denver Mint, and S, for the San Francisco Mint, typically used for proof coins. These little letters can make a massive difference in the value and rarity of a coin. So always check the area just to the right of Washington's ponytail, that's where the mint mark lives. Now, let's flip the coin over and take a look at the reverse side, where you'll find a majestic bald eagle with its wings spread wide. It's clutching a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness for defense, and beneath the eagle is a pair of olive branches, representing the United States' commitment to peace. Above the eagle reads, United States of America, and just below that, the phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. And at the very bottom, of course, the denomination, quarter dollar. All of this looks standard, doesn't it? But here's where things get exciting. Most 1979 quarters are only worth face value today, just 25 cents. But not all of them. Some carry unique mint errors, some were struck in rare conditions, and others are simply so well preserved that collectors are willing to pay a fortune to add them to their collections. Let's talk about the types of errors and rare features that make certain 1979 Washington quarters extremely valuable. First up, we have double die errors. This happens when the coin die strikes the design more than once, but slightly misaligned. On the 1979 quarter, doubling can sometimes be seen on the letters of Liberty, In God We Trust, or the numbers in the date. These are rare, but when found in clear, dramatic form, they can sell for thousands. Next, keep an eye out for off-center strikes, a misalignment that causes the coin's design to be shifted to one side. If the date is still fully visible and the off-center strike is extreme, think 50% or more, then you're potentially holding a valuable rarity. Another coveted mistake is the broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar that gives it the correct shape. This results in a wider, flatter coin, and yes, those too can be worth a great deal more than face value. Let's not forget about clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is literally missing due to a miscut during the production process. These are instantly noticeable and always catch the eye of error coin collectors, but aside from errors, one of the most valuable factors that affects the price of a 1979 Washington quarter is condition. A coin that looks like it just came from the mint, with no scratches, no wear, and strong strike detail, can be considered mint state. Coins graded MS 65 and above, especially those with a D or S mint mark, are highly sought after. Some even come with special designations like full strike or full drum lines on the eagle's tail feathers. Then there's the world of proof coins, particularly those struck at the San Francisco Mint. Proofs are specially made with mirror-like surfaces and sharp details, and some even came with Type 1 and Type 2 variations, based on subtle differences in the shape of the S mint mark. Type 2 proofs are scarcer and more valuable due to their sharper, more defined mint marks. So what happens when you combine one of these rare errors or special varieties with pristine condition? You get a coin that commands serious attention at auctions and from private collectors. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, a 1979 Washington quarter dollar, featuring a rare mint error, exceptional strike quality, and preserved in near-perfect mint state condition, was recently valued and sold for an astonishing amount of $70,000. Yes, $70,000. From a single quarter that most people wouldn't think twice about. So what does this mean for you? It means that right now, there could be a life-changing coin sitting in your pocket, your piggy bank, or your old collection box. It means that knowledge is power, and that by learning what to look for, you give yourself a chance at discovering a hidden treasure. So take out your old coins, grab a magnifying glass, and start examining those 1979 quarters. Look for unusual marks, off-center strikes, sharp details, or unusual color tones. And if you think you found something special, don't hesitate to have it professionally graded. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that's often ignored but could be the key to unlocking a massive fortune, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 1973. Yes, this is no ordinary quarter. While most people see 25 cents, collectors and numismatists see something much, much bigger, a coin that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. If you think coins from the 70s aren't worth much, think again. The 1973 Washington quarter isn't just a nostalgic piece of American currency, it's a hidden treasure, and by the time you finish watching this video, you might just be inspired to go through every quarter you've got. Because one of them could change your life. Let's begin by taking a quick step back into history. The year was 1973. The Vietnam War was nearing its final stages, the Watergate scandal was making headlines, and the nation was entering a new era of political and economic change. Amidst all that, the U.S. Mint continued its production of one of America's most trusted and circulated coins, the Washington quarter, originally introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The Washington quarter had become a staple in American pockets for over 4 decades by the time 1973 rolled around. And the design still featured the classic portrait created by John Flanagan, a timeless depiction of the first president of the United States that symbolizes strength, dignity, and unity. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, you'll see Washington's profile facing left. Above his head, the word "Liberty" is prominently displayed. To his left is the phrase, "In God We Trust," and just beneath his neck is the date 1973. But there's something small yet extremely important that appears either just behind the neckline or, in some cases, not at all: the mint mark. Mint marks are small letters that tell you where a coin was made. In 1973, quarters were minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; San Francisco, marked with an S. The mint mark on a 1973 quarter plays a major role in determining its rarity and potential value. So make sure to check the area near the date to see which mint produced your coin. Let's flip the coin over to the reverse side. You'll find a bold and majestic bald eagle, its wings spread wide in a powerful stance. The eagle clutches a bundle of arrows in its talons, a symbol of America's strength and readiness to defend its freedom, and just below that are 2 olive branches, signifying peace. Above the eagle is United States of America, and just below that, the national motto E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. Finally, across the bottom is the denomination, quarter dollar. It's a striking design, and it remained virtually unchanged for years. But here's where it gets exciting: not all 1973 quarters are created equal. Some are incredibly rare, others contain minting errors, and a few are preserved in such pristine condition that they are worth thousands of times their face value. Let's break it down. What exactly makes a 1973 quarter so valuable? First, condition is everything. The best coins are in what's called mint state, coins that were never circulated, meaning they have no scratches, wear, or damage. These coins are often graded by services like PCGS or NGC, and grades like MS-65, MS-67, or even MS-68 can send a coin's value soaring. If your 1973 quarter has a flawless shine, crisp detail, and not even a trace of wear, it could be something truly special. Second, some 1973 quarters have incredible mint errors, and this is where values can climb quickly. These include double die errors, where part of the coin's design, such as the date or lettering, appears doubled. These are rare and highly sought after by collectors. Off-center strikes, where the design is noticeably shifted to one side due to a misalignment during minting. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a cutting error. Broad strikes, which occur when the coin is struck without the collar that shapes it, resulting in a wider, flatter appearance. Each of these errors adds uniqueness to the coin, and serious value to collectors who are always on the hunt for one-of-a-kind finds. Now let's talk about proof coins. In 1973, the San Francisco Mint produced proof versions of the Washington quarter for collectors. These coins were made using a special minting process that gives them a mirror-like background and incredibly sharp details. If you come across a 1973 proof quarter, especially one in flawless condition, it could fetch a high price, but even more so if it contains an error or is a rare variety. But here's something most people overlook: small die variations and design anomalies. For instance, subtle differences in how certain letters or numbers appear, like a faint doubling in God We Trust, or a slightly different spacing in E Pluribus Unum, can make a coin stand out and significantly increase its value. It takes a sharp eye, sometimes even a magnifying glass, to catch these details, but trust me, it's worth the effort. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, in the world of numismatics, one particular 1973 Washington quarter dollar with a Denver mint mark, struck with a rare die error and preserved in perfect mint state condition, recently stunned collectors when it was valued at a jaw-dropping $72,000, yes, $72,000 for a coin that originally cost just 25 cents, let that sink in. It's not a myth. It's not a rumor. It's the real deal. This kind of value is out there, and the treasure hunt is very real. You don't have to be a millionaire to start coin collecting. All you need is curiosity, a little patience, and an eye for detail. So here's what you need to do: go check your change jars, dig into your coin collection, and most importantly, inspect every 1973 quarter you come across. Look at the mint mark, examine the condition, and search for those rare errors. Because while millions of these coins were made, only a tiny fraction hold extraordinary value. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that millions of people have seen, spent, or maybe even tossed into a vending machine without a second thought: the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 1995. But what if I told you that this common-looking quarter might actually be hiding a secret that could be worth more than a brand new luxury car? That's right, this coin, depending on the mint mark, condition, and a few surprising details, can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own pocket change to spot the rare gem that could turn 25 cents into a life-changing payday. Let's jump right into the fascinating story behind the 1995 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, originally minted to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Its iconic design by John Flanagan has graced the obverse of this coin for decades. In 1995, the coin still featured the classic bust of George Washington facing left, with the word "Liberty" above his head, the motto, "In God We Trust," to his left, and the year 1995 at the bottom. But one detail that can dramatically affect the value of this coin is the mint mark, a small letter located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. In 1995, quarters were struck at 3 different U.S. mint facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark; and the San Francisco Mint, with an S mint mark, mostly for proof coins. Each mint struck hundreds of millions of these quarters. In fact, more than 1.1 billion quarters were minted in Philadelphia alone. That means these coins are not rare based on mintage numbers alone. So how can a coin this common be worth anything close to tens of thousands of dollars? Here's where things get very interesting. While billions of quarters were minted that year, not all were created equal. Some coins were struck with unusual errors, others were produced in exceptionally high quality, and a rare few combined the two, creating the perfect storm of rarity, demand, and jaw-dropping value. Let's explore the key factors that could make your 1995 quarter incredibly valuable. First, condition is everything. Coin collectors use a grading scale that ranges from poor, barely recognizable, to MS 70, mint state perfect. If your quarter is shiny, untouched, and free from scratches, dents, or discoloration, it could be a candidate for a high grade. Coins graded MS 67, MS 68, or higher are extremely rare, and their value skyrockets accordingly. A 1995 quarter in MS 68 condition is a stunning piece. It looks like it was just struck yesterday, no wear on Washington's cheek, no dulling on the eagle's feathers, and a bright, original luster that makes it stand out immediately. Second, watch for error coins. Error coins are among the most exciting finds in numismatics. These are coins that were minted incorrectly, and sometimes, these flaws make them unique and extremely desirable. Here are a few of the most valuable types of errors found on 1995 quarters. Double die errors, the most famous and desirable kind of mint error. Parts of the design, such as the date, lettering, or Washington's profile, appear double due to a mistake in the die used to strike the coin. Some 1995 quarters show doubling in the phrase, "In God We Trust," or in the word "Liberty." Off-center strikes, coins that were not aligned correctly during the strike. The result? A quarter with part of the design missing and a blank crescent edge. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable it can be, especially if the date is still fully visible. Clipped planchets. This error occurs when the metal strip used to cut the coin blanks is misaligned, resulting in a quarter with a curved or straight clip taken out of it. Broad strike errors, when a coin is struck outside the retaining collar, causing the coin to spread out wider than normal without a defined rim. These can look really unique and are highly collectible. Each of these errors is like a fingerprint, no two are exactly alike. Collectors love them because they're so unusual and hard to find. And because most people don't even notice these errors, many valuable quarters are still sitting in pocket change or old coin jars, completely overlooked. Third, keep an eye out for San Francisco proof quarters. Proof coins are specially made for collectors, using polished dies and planchets to create sharp, mirror-like surfaces. In 1995, the San Francisco Mint released a limited number of proof sets, including the Washington quarter. If you find a 1995 S proof quarter, especially one graded PR 70 deep cameo by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, you might be holding something very special. These coins can command high prices even without errors, and with an error or unique feature, their value can go even higher. Now, how do you identify these coins? Simple. Start by closely examining the mint mark. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone camera to zoom in. Look for signs of doubling, off-center designs, missing letters, or oddly shaped edges. A slight misprint or detail that looks off could be your ticket to something incredibly rare. Also, pay attention to the surface of the coin. Is the detail sharp? Is the shine original and untarnished? Does it appear unusually clean for a coin that's decades old? These signs could suggest you have a high-grade or even uncirculated coin on your hands. And finally, the part you've been waiting for. In a recent collector's auction, a 1995 Washington quarter struck at the Denver Mint, preserved in near-flawless mint state 68 condition, and featuring a rare double die error, stunned the numismatic world when it fetched a staggering value of $82,000. Yes, you heard that right, $82,000 for a single 25-cent coin. Now, imagine the possibilities. That quarter jingling in your pocket, lying forgotten in a drawer, or resting quietly in an old coin collection, it could be the key to a small fortune. This is why so many coin enthusiasts, from casual hobbyists to full-time dealers, are constantly searching. Because even a modern-looking coin like the 1995 quarter can become the ultimate treasure with the right details. So what are you waiting for? Go check your coins, inspect those mint marks, look closely at the lettering and designs. Whether you're a collector, a beginner, or just someone with a handful of change, you could be sitting on a hidden gem worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. Today's video is one you absolutely don't want to miss. Because in this episode, we're diving into one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and surprisingly valuable coins ever minted in recent American history, the 1983 United States of America Washington quarter dollar. Now, let's be honest, most people wouldn't give a second glance to a quarter from 1983. After all, it's not from the early 1900s, it's not silver, and it's not commemorative. But here's the thing, appearances can be deceiving. Some coins, like this seemingly ordinary 1983 quarter, carry a hidden story, one that involves minting errors, missing components, low survival rates, and extreme rarity in high condition. And if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare specimens, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So sit back, relax, and get ready, because we're about to reveal why one particular 1983 Washington quarter could fetch up to $72,000 today. Let's start by setting the scene. In 1983, the United States Mint was producing billions of coins to keep up with the demands of everyday commerce. This was during a time when inflation was high, coin circulation was fast and rough, and very few people thought of saving modern coins unless they were made of silver or gold. That's why coins from this era, especially in excellent condition, are now considered extremely rare, especially the Washington quarter. Now, the 1983 Washington quarter still featured the classic design by John Flanagan, which had been used since 1932 to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. On the obverse, we have Washington's iconic left-facing portrait, with "Liberty" above, "In God We Trust" to the side, and the date 1983 at the bottom. The reverse shows the proud eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches, a timeless symbol of American strength and peace. But here's where things get interesting. There were two main mint marks for this year: laughing face for the Denver Mint, P for the Philadelphia Mint. And unlike many other coins from the 1980s, number 1983 quarters were issued in mint sets. That's right. The U.S. Mint did not release official uncirculated sets in 1982 or 1983, due to budget cuts and a shift in priorities. This seemingly minor decision ended up making a massive difference in the rarity of high-grade coins from these years. You see, collectors usually rely on mint sets to obtain flawless or nearly flawless examples of each year's coinage. But in 1983, since there were no sets, the only way to find a pristine quarter was to pull one out of circulation, before it had any time to get scratched, nicked, or worn down. And let's be honest, that didn't happen very often. Almost all of the 1983 quarters that exist today are well worn. They've been through vending machines, cash registers, parking meters, and pockets for decades. So finding a gem quality, mint state 1983 quarter is like finding a needle in a haystack. But the story doesn't end there. There's an even more specific reason why some 1983 quarters are worth small fortunes. And that reason lies in mint errors. Now, 1983 is famous among collectors for a particular kind of error, the reverse struck on a planchet that was missing a layer of metal. You see, modern U.S. quarters are clad coins, made of a copper core with a thin outer layer of nickel. But sometimes, during the minting process, one of these layers is missing, resulting in a coin that appears dull, copper-colored, or off in appearance. These coins are known as clad layer errors, and 1983 quarters with this type of mistake are extremely desirable. But there's more. Some 1983 quarters also have doubling errors, especially on the obverse side. This happens when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly, leaving behind a faint but noticeable double image, often on the date, lettering, or parts of Washington's face. These double die obverse, DDO, errors can be very subtle or very dramatic, and collectors love hunting for them. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during the minting process, leaving part of the design off the edge. Or even broad strikes, where the coin is flattened out due to being struck without the retaining collar. Each of these errors makes the coin more unique and more valuable. Now imagine this, a 1983 Washington quarter with a visible error, like a missing clad layer or double die, preserved in MS-67 or MS-68 condition. That combination is like striking gold. It's a coin that only a handful of people might ever see in their lifetime, and collectors are willing to pay huge money to get their hands on it. Let's talk about what makes a coin reach that ultra-premium price level. First is grade. Coins are graded from 1 to 70, and anything above MS-65 is already considered exceptional. MS-67 and MS-68 coins from 1983 are almost unheard of. These coins must be perfectly struck, with full luster, sharp details, and absolutely no contact marks. Second is rarity of the error. The more unusual the error, and the more dramatic its appearance, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 1983 quarter with a full missing clad layer and a double die obverse is basically a dream find. Third is demand. And right now, demand for rare error coins, especially from overlooked years like 1983, is skyrocketing. Collectors are waking up to the fact that modern coins can be just as valuable as older, classic coins, sometimes even more so, and now, the moment you've been waiting for, a 1983 Washington quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, featuring a dramatic reverse error and preserved in near-perfect condition, was recently sold at a private auction for a jaw-dropping $72,000. Yes, you heard that right, $72,000 for a single quarter that most people would spend without even a second glance at SO. Before you toss your change into the tip jar or dump your coins into a Coinstar machine, take a closer look. Because hidden in that pile of quarters might be a life-changing piece of history.